So now you know everything we know. Now you know everything that is important to you. Now you know that when you feel fear, all it means is Source doesn't agree with you. And Source is right here present with you, always in this leading edge moment. You are never by yourself. You are never without the full resources of all that you are. You cannot sever yourself from that. You cannot. You cannot sever yourself from the resources of Source. But you can deprive yourself of the feeling of Source if you activate a vibration that doesn't allow you the translation of it. Does that make sense to you? And doesn't negative emotion every single time, doesn't it have an empty quality to it? Doesn't fear feel like empty? Doesn't anger feel like empty? Doesn't it feel like it really is? You've sort of emptied yourself, much too strong of word. You've sort of disconnected yourself, much too strong of word. But it is fair to say you're depriving yourself in any moment that you feel negative emotion. You're depriving yourself of the full resources of Source that are available to you immediately. And as we're moving forward here today, we want to show you that within 10 minutes tops, no matter how long you've been in that place, no matter how long you've practiced that negative emotion, no matter what the conditions you're standing in that you're observing that may be making you feel less than good, it doesn't matter how big, bad, and awful whatever it is that you think you're living, 10 minutes is as long as we think it would ever take to achieve the important manifestation of the improved emotional state of being. And if you can accomplish the emotion, you've created the grid. And if you've created the grid and can maintain the emotion, the details will fill in. And you will feel like the most blessed, loved, cared for, worthy being who has ever lived in any environment. Because everything just fills in and says, here's more, lovely one, of what you're looking for. Here's more, here's more, here's more. You'll never get bored because there will always be more. You'll always stand in a place where your time-space reality will inspire yet a new desire to which you must achieve emotional alignment. You got that, didn't you? How you ever got the idea that God, or whatever you want to call that non-physical beingness, is sitting somewhere apart from you, waiting for you to figure stuff out so that you can rejoin it, is truly the byproduct of man's disconnecting himself completely from the picture, from the creative picture of how it all fits together. You are Source energy in these physical bodies. You cannot disconnect yourself from that Source energy. But you can choose lackful thought about yourself, about others, about your government. You can choose worrisome thoughts about yourself, about others, about your government. You can choose thoughts that don't feel good about just about anything. And in the doing so, you deprive yourself of your awareness of Source who is flowing through you, whether you know Source is flowing through you or not. In a moment of brilliance, you say, wonder where that came from. And we say, we don't want you to wonder anymore. It came from your alignment. When you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you're tuned in to the frequency of all that you are, you see. And after you taste that a little bit, anything less than that is not only just not okay, it's really, really not okay. You can't feel the deliciousness of alignment and then find some petty, unimportant thing to use as your reason to choose a vibrational frequency that's different than the frequency of Source, and deprive yourself of Source energy without knowing that something has gone really, really wrong. And it isn't permanently wrong. It's just temporarily wrong in the sense that it's not as right as it could be, or as you want it to be, or really, we'll go as far as saying as it should be, because you are meant to feel good. You are meant to be brilliant. You are meant to be tuned into the high frequency of who you really are. Our strongest desire is that you accept that which you call Source energy, or that which you call God, is doing the creating that you've all been reveling in or revering right here through you in this time-space reality. That when you have that moment of delight in a new idea, that is you and Source together reveling in the eternal expansion of this universe. And it's worth celebrating right then and there. And that's what that elation that you feel is. That's that celebration that you and Source are having together, you see. And when you feel afraid, when you feel fearful, when you feel angry, when you have those negative emotions, it doesn't mean that Source is feeling those. It means that you're feeling something so bogus, so apart from the way the Source energy feels within you, that it has to equal the opposite compensation. In other words, who you really are feels so good. When you pinch yourself off from it, isn't it logical that you would feel really bad? So as you begin to understand that your emotions have always been your guidance system to let you know one thing and one thing only. How am I in my physical body right out here on the leading edge resonating with the source of all that I am? Is there full resonation? Or am I off the beam in some way? You are more than you see in these physical bodies. You sense that. We want you to know it. You were Source energy before you came into this body, and even though you are in this body, you are still more Source energy than anything else. And this Source energy part of you is expressing through you all the time. People often think, those that accept that there is something beyond this, and how could anyone not accept that there is something beyond this? You're good, but you're not that good. You've not managed to scrape enough dirt together and launch it into orbit to create another planet. In other words, you're good, but you've just got to look around and acknowledge that there's something really big going on of which you are a part. And that larger part of you remains non-physically focused. But while that larger part of you remains non-physically focused, you have full access to it here and now, out here on this leading edge of creation. And we want you to hear the specifically chosen run of those words. Out here where you are on this leading edge creation, on this leading edge creation. So if you accept that Source energy exists, and you just sort of got to, because here you all are, as you acknowledge that this Source energy exists, don't work so hard to be good so that you can return to the heaven that you think is where Source energy is. Instead, figure out how to achieve a vibration right here and now in your powerful now, so that you allow your full revelation or your full recognition of that Source energy right here, out here on the leading edge where it has always been focused. You intended when you came into these physical bodies to explore variety. Yes, you did. And you never asked for a feathered nest. Not one of you said, I'll go forth, but please make sure everything's just the way I would like it to be, so all I have to do is just observe my environment. Because all of you knew that you wanted variety to help you to focus your improvements into place, because you are a creator, you see. You know how you don't like it when somebody else bosses you around all the time? You don't like it because you came to explore and to come to your conclusions, because you know you have the resources of all that is backing you up to flesh it out and fill it in for your surprise and delight and satisfaction, for the details of all that you are. You knew that that was what creation is about. You didn't come to fix things that are broken. You came to create things that are new. You came to explore and discover new combinations with new juxtapositions of new experiences. You intended to give birth to desires because you are an eternal creator, and eternity and evolution and continual evolution of desire is all the same thing. You can't be eternal and stand still. And so you were born into the most extraordinary, diverse environment where new desire would be, you knew it for sure, would be inspired within you. And when that inspiration occurs, it radiates vibrationally like rockets of desire. And as that radiated desire moves forward, it becomes an actual creation. The book we wrote, entitled Ask and It Is Given, speaks to that exactly. Because when contrast causes you to ask, it becomes an immediate manifestation. But as humans, you don't want to call those emotions manifestations. You don't want the idea of the new car, or the idea of the improved body, or the idea of the lovely relationship. You don't want, for the most part, the idea to be called the manifestation. You want the car in the garage and the lover in the bed and the improvement in the body. In other words, you want proof. You want others to be able to see it. But if you can accept that the idea is the manifestation, and you can revel in the fact that you are consciousness exploring variety, and that out of that variety is born desire, and that desire matters more than everything else put together, because that desire is the expansion of the universe. If you can accept that as your creation and relax into the knowing that you have done what you came to do, in the absence of resistance, it is our promise to you that the specifics of that desire will fill in around you in the most delightful dance with all of the others that you play with on your planet, as you together continue to move forward in this never-ending expansion that we are all about. We've told you everything that is important for the successful life that you've come to live. There's just one thing that we want to add to this brilliant preface that we have just delivered to you. And that is the source within you. And we stand in that place because we are non-physical energy. We are focused within your physical reality through you all day, every day. In other words, whether you are up to speed with us enough to feel it or not, we're right there. So we want to present to you a picture of the cycle of life, because we want you to understand that you were source energy, but you still are, even though you're in this body. And that while you're in this body, you are exploring and expanding, and you're causing the source within you to become more. And that source within you is focused through you. And so it's just this continual cycle where who you were is now who you are, and who you are is who you now are, and who you are is who you are. In other words, you can't separate yourself ever from who you really are. Not really. But you can do a pretty good job of pinching it off, and that's what negative emotion is. So when you decide that you want to have a conversation with someone, and that you would like the fullness of who you are to manifest, so that means you want clarity, not confusion. That means you want humor, not doldrum. That means you want joy, not a feeling of despair. That means you want to be an uplifter, not someone who discourages. That means you want to be someone who gives life to the people that you're visiting with, not someone who sucks the life from them. In other words, you really want, and if you are to feel good, you must have an awareness that the source within you will come to every party that you ever have. Every communication, you have the availability of this infinite intelligence pouring through you. Don't you just love it when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on? Don't you just love it when you're at the top of your game? Don't you just love it when the most clever things come out of your mouth? And don't you just love it when those clever things come out and everyone around you is uplifted by the fact that they have? Don't you just love it when you are so tuned in that you are evoking tuning in from other people, so that there's this synergy? Don't you just love a mastermind conversation where good ideas just keep coming? Don't you just love being so all that you really are that you can't do anything less than evoke all that somebody else is in the same moment, because your energy is so high you're dominating the moment? Don't you just love being the pure positive energy being that you are while in a physical body? And we want you to know that's what you came for. You didn't come to make something that was broken unbroken. You didn't come to fix a broken world. It isn't broken. You came for the fun, for the clarity of the expansion. You came for the moments in time. You came for the collective consciousness. You came for the platform of physical life experience. You came for the continuity of this physical life experience. We just want you to understand that the non-physical is not out there as some nebulous mist waiting for you to get your act together so that you can croak and return to heaven, so that then we can tell you what you did right and what you did wrong and then send you back to do better next time. There's nothing like that going on. You are a source energy being who has come for the fulfillment, for the joyous fulfillment of expressing life. And we want you to understand that we're in this with you. We are expressing life through you, to you, and through you. We're in this together, you see. We are energy. You are energy. We are vibration. You are vibration. And when you understand this, and we feel you do, don't you? As you've been listening to us here, you're getting this. You're feeling the resonance of what we speak. You know it right now, don't you? And the reason you know it is because you were patient enough to focus in a way and listen to us deliver the words of something that you knew before you were born. And we rambled long enough and you listened clearly enough that you have come into full resonance with who you are. And this is what we're talking about. You want to be in full resonance with who you are. You'll go home and they'll say, "Oh, how was the meeting?" And you'll say, "It was fabulous." You will. You'll say, "It was fabulous. It was fabulous." And they'll say, "What was it about?" And you'll say, Well, you kind of had to be there. You kind of had to be there. You have to be there. You have to be on the vibration.